Science and Business Administration, and today we're going to talk about Philippine music. The three topics are indigenous, Spanish, and American influence. The Philippines' musical landscape reflects 333 years of Spanish rule and 45 years of American domination. These historical periods have left indelible marks on the music, creating a fusion of Asian, Spanish, and American influences. Welcome to a journey through the heart of Philippine culture as we explore the enchanting world of indigenous traditions practiced by approximately 10% of the population. These traditions are deeply rooted in the mountains of northern Luzon and scattered islands like Mindanao, Sulu, Palawan, and Mindoro in the southern and western Philippines. Indigenous music is a term for the traditional music of the indigenous peoples of the world, that is, the music of an original ethnic group. From these historical documents, we learn about a fascinating array of instruments made of bronze, bamboo, or wood, including gongs, drums, flutes, zithers, lutes, clappers, and buzzers. Today, these vibrant musical traditions are very much alive, carried forward by the indigenous groups. In the heart of the Philippines, the indigenous traditions endure a testament to the resilience and rich cultural heritage of this extraordinary land. The Spanish European influenced music. The Spanish colonial tradition in 1521 to 1898. The three main forms introduced to the Filipinos were the jarana, the condiman, and the rondalia. Most of these forms were developed as a result of the fusion between tribal music styles and traditional Spanish and Mexican music. Jarana, a traditional form of courtship music in which a man woos a woman by singing underneath her window at night. One of the Philippine treasure is the kundiman, is a genre of traditional Filipino love songs that are written in Tagalog. The melody is characterized by a smooth, flowing, and gentle rhythm with dramatic intervals. Kundiman was the traditional means of serenade in the Philippines. Today, the Spanish European influence in Filipino music is still evident in various forms, from traditional folk songs to modern pop music. The hybrid expression that emerged from this cultural exchange continues to be an integral part of Filipino identity and culture. The Philippines has a rich musical heritage that has been shaped by various influences over the centuries. The American regime, which lasted from 1898 to 1946, also left a significant mark on Filipino music. The zarzuela tradition, which produced operatic-style songs, continued to thrive during this period. The strong band tradition in the Philippines, which began during the Spanish period, continued to flourish under American influence. Another popular instrumental ensemble, the rondalia, replaced an earlier group called the comparsa. American pop culture also had a significant impact on Filipino music, leading to the creation of Pinoy pop. This genre includes a wide range of forms from folk songs and dance tunes to ballads, Broadway-style songs, rock and roll, disco, jazz, and rap. Thank you for joining us on this musical journey through time and tradition.
Good day. I am Richard Estrella, and let's talk about music in the Philippines since 1898. Come on. Music in the Philippines since 1898. Philippine music underwent another transformation with the coming of the Americans. Three mainstreams of music during the post-colonial period include classical music, semi-classical music, and popular music. In the newly established public school system, music was included in the curriculum at the elementary and later at the high school level. At the tertiary level, music conservatories and colleges were established. schools were St. Scholastica's College since 1906. The Academy of Music 1930 under Alexander Levi, the Manila Conservatory of Music 1934 under Adolfo Cornillo. Other schools with strong music department emerged at the University of St. Thomas Siliman, University Centro Escolar, University Santa Isabel, St. Paul College, and Philippine Women's University. Includes stylized folk songs, music for theater, songs for ballads, and various types of instrumental music. An awake interest in fieldwork produced a body of folk songs from the different regions of the Philippines. Third mainstreams of music during the 20th century is popular music. The genre includes Pinoy ballads, Pinoy rock, Manila sound, Pinoy disco, Pinoy pop, folk, mainstream jazz, Pinoy jazz, fusion, Pinoy rock, ethnic, pop, novelty song. Those are the three mainstreams of the music in the Philippines since 1898. Music, semi-classical music, and last popular music.
My name is Rosaliniano. Today I would like to share with you some interesting information about the folk tradition of the Philippines, focusing on the Asiatic traditions and westernized tradition of folk music. First, let's define what folk music is. According to the International Folk Music Council, folk music is the product of a musical tradition passed down through oral transmission. Folk music, characterized by its cultural authenticity and connection to specific communities, originates from a rich tradition of oral transmission. This means that rather than being written down in musical notation, folk songs and melodies are passed down from one generation to the next through verbal communication, storytelling, and communal gatherings. This oral transmission allows for the music to evolve and adapt over time, reflecting the changing cultural landscape and experiences of the people who perform and share it. Through this process, folk music becomes not just a form of entertainment, but a living expression of heritage, identity, and shared experiences within a community. In the Philippines, there are two main streams of folk music: Asiatic traditions and westernized tradition. The Asiatic traditions encompass the music indigenous groups scattered all over the country, particularly in upland areas. Some of these groups include the Apayao, Kalinga, Ifugao in Luzon, the Sulod and Ata in Visayan, and Manobo and Tibuli in Mindanao. Indigenous music in the Philippines includes both instrumental and vocal forms. Instruments are made of metal, bamboo, and wood. Metal instruments, particularly gongs, are integral to the music of many of indigenous groups. In the north, flat gongs called gangsa are played in ensembles, while in the south, bows gongs like the agong, gandingan, and kulintang are used. Bamboo and wood instruments predate the gongs and includes various types like floats, panpipes, xylophones, and lutes. These instruments are used in combination with the gongs or in their own. In terms of vocal music, there are different genres performed in solo or responsorial manner. There is a noticeable difference in singing style between the north and the south of Northern style singing involves marked and rhythmic enunciation of vowels and frequent pauses. In contrast, Southern style singing is characterized by melismas, long phrases, and a narrow range. In recent times, an Islamic style of singing has also emerged with a distinct vocal delivery and nasal enunciation. During the colonization period, the Filipinos experienced a transformation in their musical traditions due to the influx of Western influence, particularly the Spanish European culture that was prevalent from the 17th to the 19th centuries. The process of Hispanization was closely tied to religious conversion, and as a result, the Filipinos' musical thinking was greatly influenced, resulting in hybrid expression that was heavily influenced by the Latin tastes. One major aspect of the formation was the development of liturgical and paraliturgical vocal genres. These included songs used both inside and outside the church. For example, we had Christmas songs and practices such as the pastors, Daigon, Galikon, Tarindao, and the outdoor reenactment of the holy couples search for lodging called pananawagan, pananuluyan, pananapatan, or kagharong. Another important musical tradition that emerged during the Spanish colonization was the devotion to Mary. This took the form of various rituals conducted during the month of May, such as the Santa Cruzan and the Flores de Mayo. These rituals were a way for the Filipinos to express their devotion to the Virgin Mary and were often accompanied by the processions and town bands during the month's town pistas. It's also interesting to note that some of the traditions and rituals during this time show of indigenous and Christian practices. For example, there were old rites seeking favors and good fortune that invoke God, Mary, the saints, pagan gods, as well as God, good and evil spirits. Western dance forms that were brought over by the Spaniards: habanera, tango, pundango, polka, coracha.
Good day everyone, I am Allen Abelwood. So today, I'm gonna tackle about the music in the post-colonial Philippine Republic.
The history of the Philippines music prior to 1898 encompasses two main streams of music, which are indigenous music and Spanish-influenced music. So indigenous music is that practiced by the ethnic groups found mostly in the highlands of Luzon and Mindanao, as well as in scattered areas in Mindoro, Palawan, Sulu, and Visayas Islands. No written documents about this prior to 1521 are available, appearing in the 18th and 19th centuries. Spanish-influenced music, Spaniard came in 1521 and for the next 3 centuries infused a new musical thinking which was reflected in the para-liturgical and secular genres of music which developed.
And today I will be presenting my report on contemporary music in the Philippines. Contemporary music refers to the compositions that have adopted ideas and elements from 20th century art music in the West, as well as the latest trends and musical styles in the entertainment industry. In the Philippines, contemporary music has been influenced by various stylistic movements such as Impressionism, Expressionism, Neoclassicism, Avant-garde, and New music. Many composers have utilized classical European music formats like the concerto, symphony, and cantata, but with a modern twist. They have also incorporated the textural colors of Debussy music and the dissonant tonalities of early 20th century expressionist compositions. One prominent composer in this genre is Nicanor Abelardo, whose works in the 1930s century showed a departure from his previous style to more complex and dissonant tonalities. Some of his representative works include the Sinfonietta for strings and the Cinderella Overture. Another significant group of composers in the Philippines, Neoclassicism, includes Eliseo Pajaro, Rosendo Santos, and Lucrecia Castelag. Each of them has contributed unique compositions that showcase extended formats and instrumental combinations. For example, Pajaro's works often include bitonal and chromatic elements, Santos has written hundreds of compositions from various instruments and Kasilag-infused native instrument and scales into her music. There is also a group of composers who explore alternative directions and concepts in music composition, influenced by non-Western sources such as Asian music and Philippine indigenous cultural and traditions. Jose Masida is a leading figure in this movement, with his compositions utilizing tones and timbres of non-Western instruments to create different blocks of sounds. He later explored the concept of mass performance and modern rituals in his works.
Philippine music forms and composition.
Philippine music comes in a variety of forms, covering a wide spectrum of sources geographically and historically. So, Philippine music encapsulates a myriad of forms reflecting our country, multicultural and multilingual landscape. So, in the Philippines, we all know it has many music forms and different kinds of music. Because of the history of our past and forms, we have many styles of music and the way how to express it. So, I'm representing more than 180 linguistic groups as well as different social and cultural environments in the Philippines. Because music reflects the diverse cultural landscape of our country with over 180 linguistic groups, each contributing their own unique musical tradition, instrument styles, and rhythms. Like Philippines is the rich history of various indigenous, colonial, and modern influences. Has shaped the musical heritage of different regions. Social and cultural environments in the Philippines. So has varied greatly, influencing the development and expression of music in our different communities, because Philippine music serves as the vibrant tapestry that celebrates the country's cultural richness and diversity. Philippine music composition has divided into three distinct perpetrators. First is the Asiatic oral tradition. It is a transmission of cultural knowledge, history, and stories. This tradition is prevalent in many cultures across Asia because they pass down orally generation by generation. So examples of Asiatic oral traditions are folk tales and myths, rituals and ceremonies, especially oral history. And Westernized oral tradition. It is an adaptation of integration of traditional oral storytelling. Examples of Westernized oral traditions are storytelling, spoken word poetry, and etc. The last is the Western influence art and popular music and semi-classical music. So these influences lead to fusion of Western and indigenous musical elements, resulting in hybrid forms. So examples is Turkish classical pieces and Indian. First category covers forms that are closely related to the cultural tradition. So musical forms are performed in connection with rites of passage, life, and life cycle events, like as well as occupational activities. So some occasions like birth, graduation, and planting, harvest, most of the musical performances are integrated with physical performance and physical movement. So I'm joining by the kids.
Because as Filipino embraces our cultures and traditions. The most important occasions performed in the Christian calendar. In conclusion, Philippine music forms and compositions reflect the rich tapestry of a nation's cultural heritage. In the field of vocal music, choral music in the Philippines has strongly expanded in the last 50 years because of the expansion and fast by fast generation.